Hey there! Today we're going to have a look at this pen made by Narwhal, Chinese company. These pens had their debut in 2019 at the Washington DC Pen Super Show. Created quite a stir, very nice acrylic finishes, all very sea themed. And that's pretty much it. So Tom Otto of Gold Spot contacted me and said, "Hey yo, dude." He didn't actually say that. He said, "Did you ever review a Narwhal pen?" I said, "No." He said, "Do you want one?" I said, "Sure." So very kind thank you to Gold Spot. I know these pens are very coveted and very sought after, so I'm very happy that I'm able to review it and show you what I think about it. So this I have not been able to figure out if it is the same company, but whenever people show off these pens by this brand, they also show off the cute little stands that I can't find out if they are made by the same company, but given that they're also sea themed, it seems to be a match made in heaven. Now, what stand am I talking about? It's a crab! That's what I'm talking about, right? It's the sort of crab, well, not sort of, it is a crab, and it's a stand, and you can put your pen on it, and it works, and it holds a lot of pens, and it's actually fantastic. My dear friend Stephen did ask if they could actually make a bright red one, so if you're listening, make a bright red one. Now, having said that, I will cover the parts of the pen, I will do a writing sample, and I will tell you what I like and what I do not like about this pen. However, what was a bit muddy to me was what exactly a narwhal is. Fortunately, I knew exactly whom to ask. So, without further ado, you know where this goes from here. There you are, Professor Dr. Taco Dagby here, see? And, oh no. Lord Windermere is still missing. Anyway, when people desire information, they come to me as the chair of penology at Cambridge University. I know everything. So today we have to talk about narwhal. What's narwhal? Professor, what's narwhal? What's narwhal? I don't even know. Narwhal, quite simply, is a toothed whale. So basically imagine someone took a dolphin and took a swordfish and sort of mashed them together. Well, then you have a narwhal. Now, in fact, this is very confusing because I found in my everyday activities, which are considerable, and highly complicated, that a lot of people do not actually understand what a narwhal is. So I have now written to the American Maritime Society a number of times, and I have said, listen, look at the name of this animal, okay? Narwhal. Call it, just add two E's, and it becomes near whale. Now everybody knows. Now everybody knows exactly what it is. Add those two little E's, double E, always fun, and just put that in. Put it in, simple solution. Every time they send me back a letter signed with a fountain pen that says, "You're insane." I'm not insane. I'm trying to improve life for everyone. Anyway, that's a narwhal. Okay, let's have a look at the narwhal pen and the box. The box I really like. So this is the narwhal, right? This is this animal. And it's a crab! And then we have narwhal here as well. I like it. Simple white box, but colorful because of the letters and that logo, that little shaded design. I really like that. Okay, box slides open. Has a little holder for the pen as well as a little pen sleeve. And that's pretty much it. Nice and simple. I like it. Here we have the actual pen. Just for the sake of argument, here you have that pen right next to a Pilot Parallel. This is a longer pen. It's not super girthy, but it's definitely long. On top, you have this very reflective finial. You can see the tripod that has landed on Earth and will be attacking us soon. And then we have this clip. The clip is very nice. It's all, as I said, sea themed. Hippocampus means seahorse. The seahorses that drew the carriage of Neptune or Poseidon if you prefer Greek. This clip, it looks to me a little bit that could be wishful thinking. I'm not surprised that this is supposed to be a fountain pen nib on there, but for some reason it also reminded me a little bit of a trident, and with Neptune and all that, it kind of made sense to me. But again, that may be wishful thinking. Now we have here, on the ring, it says Narwhal, and on the other side it says Narwhal. The entire pen is translucent. This is the hippocampus finish. As I said, there are other finishes as well. Barrel tapers a little bit, and here you have a piston turning knob. Okay, because that I think is what sets these pens apart so much. Beautiful acrylics, piston filler, number 6 steel nib, $45. It's really not a bad deal when you think about it. So, I just inked myself there. Here we have the nib. The nib has the narwhal on it as well, laser engraved, right? It's a fine nib. I was only able to find these with fine nibs. Here we have a plastic feed, translucent section, so you can see the nib color, translucent, if not actually transparent, because this is not even a bit cloudy. It's a very nicely polished acrylic in my mind. You can see the ink level, and this piston actually comes out. I thought that was quite nice. Well, I mean, the first time I did it, it was actually by accident as I was cleaning the pen. But you can unscrew this and the whole assembly comes out, which is actually great for cleaning, but even more so for maintenance, putting a little bit of grease on the piston seal once in a while to keep it operating smoothly. This section I was unable to unscrew, so I believe this is one piece, so be a bit careful with that. You don't snap it in half trying to unscrew that. Okay, anything else I have to say about the narwhal? Not yet, but I'll come back to the hippocampus part. Okay, so well, let's talk about how this pen writes. Here we have the Narwhal Hippocampus. We have a fine steel nib, and the ink is Pelikan Edelstein Ruby, or actually Star Ruby. Edelstein, yes. Okay. Okay. What do I note? Writing with it. It's a pretty wet writer. Let's do some very fast writing. And you see that here too, it doesn't skip. It's a very nice wet writer, and I haven't done anything, I haven't primed it, I've just actually not used it for probably 2 or 3 days now, and I uncap it and it writes straight away. So that's very nice. It is not the smoothest nib. I'm not saying it is scratchy, but there is definitely quite a bit of feedback. Having said that, as indicated, it is quite wet. Line variation, well, nothing naturally, I think. You can squeeze out a bit, but again, I'd be careful. Okay, reverse writing. Is possible. Makes the nib just a tiny bit finer, and it's actually not super scratchy. So for those of you who like that, you can take this pen finer. And to be honest, I would almost say that in the normal writing, it's pretty much medium, right? It's not super fine. So I think this is not a bad nib to use upside down if you need a finer line. Okay, well, let's see what I like about it and what I don't like about it. But before we do that, where's the cap? Here we go. Before we do that, it is obvious that I had to pick this particular finish, and the reason for that, bear with me for a second here, is that of course when I think of hippocampus, I don't really think of Poseidon, I think of something in the brain. So I thought that we would make this a little educational. If you don't like it, just skip this part and you can go to the end and see what I like about it, what I don't like about it. A brain. If you open up a brain, nurse, scalpel. Okay. So now I've opened up our brain, right? Your eyes would be on this side. This is your olfactory nerves that allow you to smell. But your eyes would be on that side, connected to these things. That's the olfactory nerve. Okay, sorry, the optic nerve. Now, if we disassemble this a little farther, this is the corpus callosum. Allows your two brain hemispheres to communicate. Now look at what you see here. You see this sort of green thing going up there? Well, that green thing, if we were to take that out, okay, were to take this out, it would look like this, okay? And that green thing, it's not actually green in real life, right? This is a part of allocortex, so not neocortex, but something a little older, so not this outward wrinkly bit. It has a couple fewer layers of cells. But this hippocampus is really interesting. The hippocampus, that was that green thing. And the hippocampus, you can see it nicely on this side and on this side, right? You have one on either side of your brain. Basically two C-shaped rings, right? And it's a very important structure for your memory. So if you are remembering something, if you remember about the hippocampus, then it is this thing, the hippocampus, that is actually doing that for you. And at least that's how we understand it now, that it helps you to store long-term memories in your cortex. And when those memories become really established, you don't really need the hippocampus anymore for those memories. They've become consolidated. You can just get them out of your cortex, and they don't depend on the hippocampus. A little bit of trivia, which is also kind of funny. So this is the column of the fornix. Fornix is actually Latin for arch. It was like the arches in the aqueducts, for example. And legend has it that it was prostitutes that actually sort of conducted their business under the arches of the aqueducts, and in other words, under the fornix. And that is where we got our word to fornicate in English. I don't know if it's true, but if it's not true, it was well found. Okay, that was the hippocampus. I thought that might be fun. Tell me if you want more of these types of interludes. I don't know which other pens lend themselves to that, but tell me if this was horribly boring or if this was actually interesting. Let's do a bit on what I like and what I don't like about this pen. Okay, so what do I like, what do I not like about the Narwhal Hippocampus? Well, I can be brief about it. There's a lot of things I really like about this pen. First of all, a beautiful material. I mean, this is in my mind, a very attractive acrylic. I know there are many acrylic pens out there, but acrylic, piston filler, $45, that really is not bad. In fact, that is kind of hard to beat. Number 6 steel nib, that means you can put other nibs on, which is nice. It is very comfortable. I found it a very pleasant writer and a very pleasant pen to use because of the size. Can be disassembled, which is useful. You can take out that piston assembly, which I think is great for quick maintenance, etc. All of that I love. Things I don't like so much, well, for $45, I think given what you get, it's kind of hard to complain. Two things I would point out is one, the nib is fine. It's definitely not the smoothest nib I have ever used. It's also by no means the worst nib I've ever used. But could be a little smoother, and then again, being number 6, you can probably find another nib relatively easily that would fit in that. The other thing I would say is I would definitely like to see more nib options. I would really like it if I could pick at least the medium. Medium and fine would already give me a bit of an option. Right now it's only fine, which I find a little bit restrictive. But again, with the nib options that are available, I am pretty sure, looking at this nib, its shape and size, that you could put on a Pen BBS nib. So you might be able to use that, for example. Haven't tried it, but I'm assuming that that might work. And that's pretty much it. A nice pen. And again, for this price, this material, piston filler, there really isn't that much to complain about. So I really enjoy it. Tom, thank you very much for sending me this pen. I appreciate it. I hope this review was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye-bye. Now when you're sitting there in your silk upholstered chair, talking to some rich folk that you know, well, I hope you won't see me in my ragged company, or know that I could never be alone. if they are complaining about my bloody singing again, I will have words with them. Seriously. My goodness. Yes, sir? This cannot be. You fell. Yeah, but I come back to you now. At the turn of the tide. Windy? Windy! Come, have a seat, mate. It's Lord Windermere. Yeah, listen. Do you remember that time we went to that conference in Mallorca? Well, yes, I was the keynote speaker, chair of penology, Cambridge University. I mean, who else would they ask? I'm not kidding. Yeah, well, anyway, so we was in that little conference centre, you remember? Yes, I do remember. Yeah, so we was there, and it was a social event, and turns out we were quite close to that yacht harbour and the beach. Yes, I remember distinctly. It was a beautiful sunny afternoon and all that. Well, yeah, so I went out trying to do some bikini spotting. You mean the islands? Could be islands. Could be islands, yeah, let's keep it at that. Okay. And then what happened? Well, I decided it might be wise for me to cool down a bit. So I went for a swim. Okay. Well, it turns out there was rather a strong undercurrent, so I was carried off a bit, mate, and I couldn't swim back so fast. Windy, I looked for you all night that evening. And the next day, yeah, I'm sorry, I tried to come back to you as soon as I could, but I simply couldn't. I was carried off, mate. I didn't have access to any technology for weeks, if not months. Anyway, I make my way back to the Netherlands. Yes, where we were staying. Yeah, except you wasn't staying there because I went to your office. They told me you'd moved to Canada. Yes, this is true. We did move actually to Canada. Well, yeah, but I didn't know that. So then I had to make me way. I stowed away in a ship. Turns out them was fishing for lobbies, so I had to be a little careful there, mate. I'm 10 inches. I was the biggest lobster on board, so I had to make sure I wasn't actually caught. But I made me way here, innit? And, well, then I found you. So, I'm back. I like them apples. Lord Windermere, I missed you. You're always so lovely and inappropriate. I'm 10 inches, well, yes, and I missed you. So I think tonight maybe we should celebrate with a bit of crab salad, wouldn't you say? Oh yeah, mate, crab salad. Haven't had any in weeks. No crab salad either. Yes, well, anyway, let's go grab some crab salad, mate. I'm so happy to have you back. Yeah, happy to see you too, Tarky. Now, take your rightful place. Well, what a happy day. This was Professor Dr. Tarquin Danglebury and Lord Windermere. Yes, and Lord Windermere. He nearly stabbed my eye out. Anyway, I'm happy that he's back. I will gladly see you soon. Ta-ta.